Hey, I'm John Merrill. Welcome back to this week's episode of Brainstorming America. I'm delighted to be back with my co-host Ken Rollins as we bring forth issues that are important to you and action-packed items that we know you're going to be interested in. Ken, great to be with you again, my brother.
Thank you, John. It's good to be with you, buddy. And it's a great thing that we're offering to the state of Alabama to talk about these subjects. And I'm not going to delay too much. I'm going to go right into the subjects because this one, I guess, this first subject I want to throw at you, probably nothing irritates me more or hurts me and makes me madder than to see what's going on at our southern border and even our northern border, to see how reckless this country has got in protecting us. I would think that if you were the President of the United States, your utmost job, your first and foremost, would be to protect the citizens of the state.
Ken, that's one of the basic things in the preamble to the Constitution, is providing for a strong defense. And we have to make sure that our commitment to a strong defense is evident by the way that we conduct ourselves and the way that law enforcement helps us, especially the Border Patrol. Now, let's be serious. Each and every person within the sound of my voice and our viewership wants anyone that wants to come to the United States to come. But we want them to come the right way. And there's a prescribed way to obtain citizenship. And until you are committed to that right way, you need to make sure that whenever you are identified, if you're arrested, that you're investigated, and we know why you're here. Because many of the people who are coming into our country are not coming with good intentions. They're coming with nefarious intent designed to do harm to our republic and to our people. And we will not stand by and allow this to continue to happen anymore.
And you know, we got two parties. One party thinks one way, but the liberal side of the House, I've watched the Senator Schumer, the head of the Senate. Senator Schumer said last week, we need more people from the other side of the border. We need more of them. They're talking about illegals. And he said, we need more because we're not reproducing. Now, I would argue that we are reproducing, but we're killing as many as we reproduce sometimes.
Well, we are. And of course, thank goodness for the Dobbs decision that has changed the way that abortions are administered in the United States. Roe v. Wade was the law of the land for many, many years, but this Supreme Court that came into play because of the three justices that were nominated by President Trump and approved by the United States Senate are now serving, and we have a conservative majority that is a strong conservative majority for the first time in decades in Washington, D.C. And that's something that we need to all be proud of, because many things, just like Roe, are no longer the law of the land, and we have to continue to protect the unborn with all the energy and vigor that we possess.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk a lot about the abortion situation as we get further into the show. But when we talk about the border, the other thing is fentanyl. I had never even heard of fentanyl till just a few years ago. Now it seems like a weapon. If I wanted to destroy America, that would be a good way to do it.
Well, Ken, they're doing it from within. And the problem is that when they bring these illicit and illegal drugs in, and our people take part in this, it puts them in a defensive posture and can wreck a family and destroy a family. We've seen that happen many, many times, not just in something you've read about in the paper or that you've seen on TV, but people know individuals in this county, in this community where that has occurred, and we have to put it into it immediately.
Yeah, it's got that in the murders, the rapes, all the things that comes with that border. It's not just like we got extra people. Some of these people that are coming here for nefarious reasons. They're not coming here to go farming. They're trying to make a living for their family. There's some bad people coming across off that line. I know when you say that, it got President Trump into trouble by saying those, but that's the fact. You can look at all the things you hear about and about the people on the other side of the border. Just look on a daily basis how many is coming across there. How do we keep that from happening, because every state, I hear this over and over, every state is a border state, and it really is now, the way they're spreading out.
Ken, there's no doubt about it. And one of the things that we have seen in the work that I have done as your Secretary of State is we have seen people that have been added to voter rolls in other states that are not U.S. citizens. And that's a problem, because people that are not U.S. citizens should not be participating in our elections. They should not be allowed on the voter rolls. That's the reason why I've always said we want each and every eligible U.S. citizen that's a resident of Alabama to be registered to vote and to obtain a photo ID so they can participate at the level that they want to participate. But we don't need non-citizens on our voter rolls. We certainly don't need them voting.
Yeah. Well, when you was the president of the Secretary of State, what was your title?
Yes, sir. I was president of the Secretary of State for the Republican secretaries across the nation.
So you got to see what's going bad in New Mexico and Virginia and all those places where the average Secretary
Arizona,
of State,
Pennsylvania, New York, California, and you can just name the states ad nauseum.
where the Secretary of State of Georgia is real aware of this state of Georgia, but may not be seeing what the problems are for somewhere up on the East Coast up there, and they got plenty of them. So we got to take a break. You got to make some money, and when we're going to go to commercial, and we come back, we're going to talk more with John Merrill. Get your pen. And welcome back to Brainstorming America, and we're talking about the Secretary of State, John Merrill, and we left talking on the border, but no, was it what's border?
Yes, sir. Border security.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
sir. Absolutely.
Because we had some of the things that we left off. We didn't get to cover in that whole segment. I wanted to mention that I think was in the part of where the drugs was coming across, and the other side. I mean, the other side of the thing, the Democrats, they don't have a fear. And as of yesterday, our delegation from the Republican caucus was down there, went down to the border. And the one thing is, John, I wonder why these others are so afraid to go down there. Nobody goes. They just don't. They deny it. This Mayorkas, the head of the Homeland Security.
Well, they would rather have their heads buried in the sand than they would pay attention to the issues that are at hand. And in doing so, they can continue to claim ignorance. And when they claim ignorance, they think they're doing so justifiably. What they're doing is they're putting the United States of America in jeopardy, and they're putting us in a position where we cannot defend our borders, we cannot defend our people. They're bringing illicit and illegal drugs in. They're bringing prostitution rings in. They're bringing syndicated crime in. And whenever they're doing this, they're putting all of us in all 50 states in jeopardy. And that's the reason why we need a strong border presence, and we need to have strong law enforcement officers there to ensure that only people that are coming the right way are allowed to come into the United States.
Yes, exactly. Well, I'm going to go to another subject, and that is something that's near and dear to your heart, because it's ensure free and fair elections. Free elections don't cost nothing, and fair elections is what the people want to see what's going on in Alabama. I just voted. I had both. I had free and fair. You can see, as I said to you off camera, I don't see how people can say, and I'm not the smartest, but how could you cheat in Alabama? I mean, I'm sure you know of ways, and there's probably some that goes on, but to the extent that it could affect in Alabama. I mean, I just don't understand why can't you take a spoonful of what we got?
Well, Ken, we do know of ways that the illegal activities can take place and that voting can be looked at in a vulnerable position from certain people. But we're not going to talk about that here, and the main reason for that is because I would like to be able to add to our numbers of conviction on voter fraud since I became your Secretary of State, instead of giving away all of our trade secrets. Because we want you to know that if you want to cheat, then we're going to identify you, we're going to investigate you, If it's warranted, we're going to indict you, and then we're going to prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law, and we'll add you to that list of 8 people that we put in jail since I've been the Secretary of State. Now, we want each and every eligible U.S. citizen that's a resident of Alabama to be registered to vote and to obtain a photo ID. I've made that clear many times when I've been on Ken's show, Veterans Issues. I've made it clear all across the state and across this country. Since January the 19th, 2015 until today, we've registered 2,180,763 new voters in the state of Alabama. We now have a record 3,693,501 registered voters in the state of Alabama. No state in the union has done what we've done in that same period of time. But if you participate in illegal or illicit activities related to voter fraud or trying to compromise the integrity of the system, we're going to make sure that you pay for it, because you're working against all of us and all of our elected officials at the same time.
I've always talked to your face and away from your behind your back how intelligent I think you are and how smart I think you are and how good job you do. But dang if you don't do a bad job at that cheating, man. I mean, you are really awful at suppression. I got to tell you that.
You know, everything we do, Ken, is designed to make it easy to vote and hard to cheat in Alabama, and that's what we want to continue to do, because we're excited about ensuring that each and every person that wants to participate in the process is able to do so, which is why we continue to break records for participation. Now, we did not break the record on November the 8th for a general election in Alabama in a gubernatorial cycle. It was the second highest number in the history of the state. 1.7 million in 2018, wow. 1.4 million on November the 8th.
Wow, that's great. But like I said, you're not doing too good on that suppression deal, because I know Hillary Clinton used to be, it was a big thing of hers to come to Alabama and talk, stand in the auditorium at Birmingham Civic Center or whatever, and talk about the way we suppress people down here.
Yeah, but I've had a private conversation with Secretary Clinton and told her the great work that we've done and showed her the numbers and let her know that 96% of all eligible African Americans in the state of Alabama are registered to vote, and 91% of all eligible white Alabamians are registered to vote, and 94% of all eligible Alabamians are registered to vote. Challenged her to find any other state in the union who has had the kind of accomplishments that we've had in that same period of time. I'm still waiting on my phone to ring with that report.
Wow. Well, see, the African Americans are the one that was crying, not them necessarily, but those who claim to represent them. And
not African Americans from our state, but right. from other states who've come here to tell us how to do it.
Right.
When they need to be paying attention to how we do it.
Right. But you know, I think it can be done, because you've demonstrated here, and is serving at a national level. You've seen what it does in other states. A lot of people can't say that, because it's a lot different in California and New Mexico and Virginia than it is here in Alabama. So,
yes, sir. Absolutely.
We got to go. They yelling at us. They
yes,
got to go. They hungry, money hungry. You got to go to a break. Come back. We'll talk more with the secretary.
Hey friends, welcome back. We're delighted to end today's show by talking about some of the issues that are hitting you at the kitchen table and where you live, and that's growth and inflation, and how that negatively is impacting each and every one of us as we try to buy our groceries, pay for our gasoline, pay our rent, pay our taxes. Ken?
I'm telling you, this is something near and dear to my heart. I do the grocery buying. And just as late as yesterday, when my milk has went up 21% at one place. I buy at Winn-Dixie, a great place, no different than the other, but 21%. And I'm saying 2 weeks ago, I had just like it was like it's 21% more than it was 2 weeks ago. I got a piece of meat that I buy, and I cook it, and I've been doing this for 6 years. And I cook it in an air fryer, and I cut it up in little pieces for my dog. The butcher knows me, and when I come in, he says, "I got it over here." And he got my piece. Never more than $7. That same piece of meat right now is $23. Oh yeah, $23.
Unbelievable.
And I just tell him pass. I pass. Yeah, the one piece of meat, and from 3 times the amount that it used to be, and this is ridiculous. I priced a turkey yesterday. I need a mortgage in my house to get me a turkey. It's amazing. And for him to sit up there, and I'm talking about Joe Biden, to sit up there and say, we're doing good. And excuse my language, but that's the same as somebody urinating on your leg and say, that's rain.
Right.
You know?
That's right.
But it just, for them to tell you, oh, you're okay, just because you don't have anything, food on top, you're all right, you're going to be okay. And I want to hear your thoughts on all this.
Well, Ken, it's a major problem, especially when you're talking about groceries and you're talking about the transportation of these food items like meat, like milk, vegetables, fruit, all of those things, prepackaged products that have to be transferred from a particular location to our grocery stores so we can buy them and put them on our table. When you're talking about the XL pipeline being closed down, the Keystone pipeline being closed down, that's going to raise fuel cost. And when diesel is almost $6 a gallon, that cost is being transferred all the way to you, the consumer, when you go to the pump, but also when you go to the grocery store or when you go to the convenience store or when you go to the market in order to buy clothes. You're going to see those prices continue to increase. Now, if you're comfortable with that, then you need to continue to ask for that same kind of representation in Washington, in Montgomery, and throughout our country. But if you're not, you need to demand a change in leadership and you need to demand a change in the way that that work is done in Washington and Montgomery by those individuals who've been elected.
Absolutely, and this is where people are naive and they don't think about those things, and they vote in people into office that affect me. So you folks out there have been bringing in those people doing that to us. Don't vote for them no more. We want you to vote, but vote for think about what you're doing. Because what John's talking about, I remember when the day that this president was elected, I bought my gas at Sam's Club, and it's $1.79 a gallon. It's a little bit cheaper than your regular stores, but it's $1.79. Now it's $4. And this is from a place where I get a discount by being a member of the club. And so you can't tell me that Putin caused that, because it was way before Putin. And there's people out there that really believe that, and shame on you for believing that, because Putin is not our problem. Our problem is up there, not just with Biden, but the people who make the laws that energy policies that we've got right now favor somebody other than us American guys.
Ken, look, when we've got elected officials or people that hope to be elected officials saying that we don't need to be worried about the farmers or making conditions more favorable for farmers because if we need more food, we'll just go to the grocery store and get it. That shows a complete lack of understanding and a complete lack of intellect in knowing how things work from the farm to the market. And that's exactly what Stacey Abrams did when she was running for governor of Georgia.
No, that's it. People is out of touch is what I say. They don't have any idea. I hear that you mentioned it too, that at the kitchen table, the issues that they talk about, I don't know many families that talk about the issues they're talking about. I don't know people that sit there and talk about the stock market. Now, I just think that they're way shooting over our heads. They're not communicating with the American public, and they don't have our concerns. And I'm saying me is in the middle there. They don't have me in mind. I mean, so when I go to buy groceries, and I personally go to buy them, and I see it from week to week, that's ridiculous. We should not see that.
No doubt. And it's time that we did something about it. And the only way you can do something about it is by changing your elected officials or by changing the philosophy of those elected officials that are already there with information. When they know that you're paying attention and they know that you're going to do something about it, they'll sit up straight and begin to fly right.
Have you ever thought about running for president? that was a real question.
Well, look, Ken, I think it's important for each of us to do what we can where we are. And if we continue to do that, we're going to be making the kind of difference that it was intended to make by the Founding Fathers. Look, each and every one of us has a charge that's been dictated to us by the Founding Fathers. And if we accept this charge, then we're Americans. And if we don't, then we're not. But it's as old as the preamble to the Constitution. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity. If we don't believe those things and we're not committed to those things, we're not Americans. I don't know what we are, but we're not Americans. But if we do, we need to embrace those things, and we ask you and we challenge you to join Ken and me and to join those people that believe the way that we do, and let's put America back on the right track.
Amen. I got an amen on that. I want to go something before we run out of time, and that's on the abortion situation where we've the unborn life. I want you to weigh in on that first.
Yes, sir. Look, I'm so pleased with the Dobbs decision that was handed down this summer and the changes that we've seen going on in all the states in the Union. Roe v. Wade was established many years ago, 50 years ago, as the law of the land in giving women a right to choose. But what we need to understand is there's nobody that was speaking for that unborn child. President Reagan put it well when he said, the only people that I've ever seen for abortion were people that were already alive. And we need someone to speak for the unborn, and that's what we're doing now.
Well, we have run out of time, my friend, and I'm telling you, it is so good to have you back up here
Thank
in
you,
our
brother.
neck of the woods. We can do this again?
Absolutely.
All right, we got to go, and so we'll see you next time here on the Brainstorming America. So we'll be brainstorming. We'll see you back next time.
Clear.
Well, they come up fast.